Good morning, everyone, to another Saturday in the Salon of Brilliance, Chez Layla. And I am very happy to have all of you watch us. I mean, you can catch up. You can join us through Zoom if you want. I put the Zoom link in the link of the event. You can join us if you want to join the conversation after the kind of the part, which is the interview. And then we can join us for an intimate conversation and ask all your questions all the way you want. So today, we have a really very dear friend of mine. We get to become friends, and she's a very brilliant coach and consultant. I cannot tell enough about her. She is an online visibility strategist, and she specialized actually in leveraging social media. So this is a really good thing for all entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small businesses who, whether they're striving or they are in the startup, but they just have this part of their business that they cannot really feel comfortable online. So she's the expert. She has been a journalist. She's a specialist in communication, digital marketing, both in France and in Canada. She started with Radio France, Le Figaro, Radio Canada, CBC, and she did also work for Tourism New Brunswick. So she has a vast experience. So if you are able to join us, you have to come to the ride and hear about all her brilliant, and I like to use the word brilliant because I believe everybody has a brilliant side of them that it needs to be discovered. So we are helping you to rediscover your brilliance. So she has developed a program. It's the V.I.S.I.B.L.E Method, and she was going to explain more about that. And she also have published a book recently, and the most recent appearance was a TED Talk. So there's a lot to talk about. So I want to welcome and hope you join me to welcome Angelique Binet. And welcome, Angelique.
Hello, Layla. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I am happy to have you as well.
And I love the name of your show, Salon of Brilliance. I don't know if your other guest said that, but it feels like a big deal for the guest to be here. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so happy that you could fit me in your schedule. And I wanted to do this as a test. So for all our viewers, it was a thought that I had in mind. I wanted to do a podcast, but I wanted to, just dip my toe in the beginning. So I thought, why not have an appearance online on Facebook first, and then we will save it. Maybe I'll upload it to YouTube, and I'll start by once a month to have to host a show that it would be interviewing brilliant leaders, women, and others. Maybe other coaches will be, not specifically just women, but I like to highlight the women entrepreneurs, the coaches, people who can make a difference in the life of other people, and to tell their story and how they can help others. And it's the conversation is always a good thing because we can talk about different things that we can do in our life to make us shine our brilliance. So I am so grateful to have you here. And I want to start by just if you tell people just a little bit about yourself, other than what I have introduced you, something, what you want them to know before we start.
Well, what do I want you to know? I want you to know that no matter whatever you have in your heart right now that you think it's going to be for when you are 10 years or 20 years from now, it can happen now. And the little story I want to share is, so we're talking to you from Canada, and I'm from France, as you said. And when I was a teenager, I always knew I would live abroad, but it would be Algeria first, then Vietnam, then when I'm older and wiser, Canada. And at 23, I was already in Canada. So,
So you skipped Vietnam and Algeria. Or
and
maybe you were wiser enough in on 23. Yeah.
it was like always a thing. And what I'm saying is that as soon as you have an idea, And ideas are part of my V.I.S.I.B.L.E method. Your ideas are your gold. As soon as there is an idea that drops into you, you can either ignore it, or you can take note of it, or you can take action on it right away. And when I look back, that thing that I had at 12 and 15, there was no specific action attached. But at 23, I was in Canada.
Wow,
So,
that was
yeah.
quite a journey. Was it how long ago? 5 years ago?
Yeah, almost. I'm turning 50 next, no, this year.
Oh,
So
nice.
my wisdom age apparently is this year, but it's been 25 years that I'm in Canada. Yeah.
Oh, 25 years of building wisdom. So
Yes.
that's wonderful. And now you're sharing this wisdom with everyone who needs it. So tell us more about how did you come to create your program? I know you've been in journalism for a while. You worked in Radio France and Radio Canada. And how did this idea about coaching a woman entrepreneur came to mind? How did you develop that in your mind before it became a reality?
Yes. I think, the journalism career on television was a big thing behind it. Again, not consciously, but when you spend, I think it was almost 6 or 8 years behind a camera interviewing people, and I was a VJ, so video journalist, the first one in Atlantic Canada, by the way. Just I love to say this,
Really?
where you have the camera and the mic and the tripod, and you do everything from A to Z, right? So that was the beginning of that. Now everybody's a VJ, right? But in 1999, that was the beginning of this. So when you spend a bunch of years behind a camera interviewing people, like number one, you get very intimate with people when you film them, ask them questions, and when you're a journalist, you ask questions that are deep, right? You want to understand the situation. Sometimes, most of the time, it's controversial, political, economics, and then you get a chance to see like first raw emotions
Mhm.
or how people. I was always impressed by people who were really in a tough situation, and they would be very like so anchored in their response, and I was like, how do you become that person? How do
Mm.
you become that person that is so convicted that no matter what the other people are gonna say on another broadcast about you or what you do, you still believe in your thing. And
Mm.
that was always fascinating for me, and that transferred to entrepreneurship because um, you know, once you have a business, you become the broadcaster of your own business. If you don't believe, if you don't speak about your business like someone would speak on TV in the news about their business, then you kind of you're not here for your business. So that I learned a lot about the power of conviction by interviewing those people, and especially women. Uh,
Mm.
because of course there was always, especially in the political realm, there was always a topic about, the place of women, how they are seen, the way they are dressed. And I covered a bunch of story around, the place of women in politics, in economics, and how they are judged versus a man. So I think this is where my seed of entrepreneurship started. And then I'm like, okay, I'm kind of tired of always saying others' story. And then when you're a journalist and a good one, you share the story, that the most angle of the story, so that the viewer do their own decision. You don't put the meaning on anything, you put the situation, and then people kind of,
Decide for themselves how they
yeah.
want to spread it.
But
Yes.
I was kind of tired of doing that. I wanted to take a side.
Oh, right. Yes.
So it I wanted this. In the reality, if you look at the movie of my life, this is not what happened, but this is the end result. So that's why now I teach the power of your mind and the power of your language, because when you say something, you build your life the way you talk. So I
Yes.
was always saying, I'm tired of sharing someone else's life. And then how funny that just a few years ago, I published a book that is about my life and no filter. and no worry about should I say this way or this way. This is my story. Nobody can steal my story, right?
Yes.
Or critique my story. They can, but it's my story. So that's kind of the transformation of the power of your voice and your message and the impact it has on others. That's why I say, the word influencer, as soon as you're on social media, whether you have one follower or 10,000 followers or a million, you're an influencer. When you
Mm.
talk to someone, you influence someone. That's why it's a big job to talk about what you do.
Yeah, no, that is brilliant. To be honest with you, I haven't interviewed anybody like you did, but I have come across a lot of people, and the same way from a different angle maybe. I know that they have a lot of potential. They don't feel it, they don't know it, they don't shine it, they hide, like, they're either not confident enough or not feeling like really the power within them. And how I develop the personal branding, because we talk the same language maybe, or we talk the same thing in different languages or a different approach, but it's the same thing, because whether you know it or not, whether you do it intentionally or not, you are creating a brand, and you do have that brand, and it's showing the way you are showing up. So that's the same thing. You're telling your story, and telling your story, you can change by what you say and how you say it to yourself before you say it to others, and how you present yourself, how to show up to the world, and how you want people to perceive you. So it's a lot about knowing first who you are, what's your story, and how you want to tell it. So for you, it is helping people to be visible and to dare to tell their story as it is. And you're really a role model, an example of that, because you started telling your story. So within your story and your journey, what was like the pivotal moment in your life that you knew that you're destined to do this, or you thought this is like, not only just, you said that you were tired of telling other people's story, you want to tell your story, but when was it that after you knew you want to tell your story and take sides, that you decided this is what I want to do in life, this is my mission, or this is my purpose, if that's the reality?
Yeah. Um, I think the the first part of that is in France. So before, when I was in Paris doing my post-secondary education, and I realized that all the people I knew, my friends, I was the one you would always come to see to solve your life problem.
Mm-hmm.
I was the one. There is always one in a group that is the one that hear all the stories of everybody, right? So
Yeah.
I was that one. And I didn't know at the time about emotions and about listening and stuff like that. So I took it all. And I had to, it's one of the reasons why I left, because it was my power. I was a very good listener without knowing how to listen. I was a very good coach without not knowing that I was coaching. And so emotionally I was drained, right? So I left. I'm like, I'm gonna go, nobody's gonna know me, and I'm gonna start fresh. Except that wherever I go, I'm a magnet.
Yes.
Layla.
Yeah.
And so I learned that because I'm like 6,000 or I don't know how many thousands of kilometers away, totally new territory, don't know anybody, don't speak really the language, and it's the same. And this is where, probably whatever you call it, your little voice, your soul is like, hey, hey. So you become a journalist because it's one way to be a messenger. And then if you look at my name in Greek, Angelikos is the messenger.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And um and then so those interviews, and then I got sick. So when I moved to Canada, I got very sick because I led my life by the checkbox. Brilliant, everything I wanted to do, the schools, the work, everything. Except, I burnt out. So when I arrived in Canada, where there is nobody or almost nobody, there is only trees, space, I crashed. It was my place to crash.
Well, that's a good place to start.
So I started to rebuild myself, and with that came a lot of food intolerances and allergies. I was diagnosed. They couldn't diagnose what was going on. I think it was just I needed to a full reset of life.
Mm.
Um, and then I became so the French girl who eats croissant and baguette. I couldn't eat gluten anymore. Couldn't eat dairy. Couldn't eat all the things that you eat. I eat in France. So I had to relearn, and I love cooking, and I love eating, and I love the social of food. And so I had to relearn to do all of those things without those ingredients. And I fell in love with this. And then when I arrived in Canada, the big topic was, the overweight, like the health issues around weight and food and all the things is still the case, but it was really loud when I arrived. And then, so when I stopped my journalism career, I started to play with that. I love, and it was a very trendy thing. You cannot eat gluten anymore. So people were devastated. What am I going to eat if I cannot eat gluten? And I was like, oh, it's fun. I was really into like how fun it can be and good to eat without gluten. So I started to become a food instructor.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and that's kind of when I started to coach people through how to eat healthy food. I was also addicted to food. So I had a bulimia for almost 20 years. So all of this, I had to relearn my relationship with food and share with others how you can have a healthy relationship with food and eat healthy. So if you look on the internet, you're going to see me like with so many videos about food. That's who I am, Angélique Cuisine. That's how it started.
Oh,
Yes, and then I even I had a booth, like a bistro at the market in Fredericton
oh,
outside.
wow. I did not know that at all.
Yeah, I was a food instructor at the PC, what's the name of it? PC school,
Yes, yeah.
at the superstore. I was a private chef. I had bistros in my house that were very popular in Fredericton. Like people still think I'm doing that right now and haven't seen them for a long time. So that was my life. Amazing. And I'm like, I would love to do that full time. So I started to apply for loans, for money, for cash. And then I fill up a plan, that they ask you to give you your business plan. I'm like, no business plan. Just wanted to do that. And then so I start to fill up the plan, and then there is a section that is to give us your marketing plan. And so I had no idea. Like I'm like, oh my God, another thing to learn. And as I was filling up the file for the CBDC, I get a call from an ex-colleague of mine because yes, I lost my job a few times in the middle of that story, but everything happens for a reason, right? And she said, Angelique, there is a job for you at the government of New Brunswick to be a social media specialist. And I'm like, Karen, I don't know anything about social media. I said, yeah, no, I know that part, but you have everything else. You qualify. You're going to learn social media. And I'm like, really? So I look at the offer. And at the time, I was a student of Brandon Burchard. And that week, we were learning the power of influence. And so I went to the interview and I influenced my jury, telling them I don't know anything about social media, but I'm the one. And they said yes.
Amazing.
So I'm like, I'm going to be paid learning social media. Except I fell in love with it and I became their advertising expert and all the things. I'm still part-time as a paid media expert over there. I fell in love with it. I didn't know that. That was the part I didn't know. I still love it that much. But what happened, Layla, is that when I started to be in that team, my friends, the entrepreneur friends, they come to me and they say, hey, you're in social media. Could you help me promote this, with this, with this, with that? So I started to help my friends. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. And this is when, it was still, helping others, but through social media advertising, I was running ads for them. But then this is where I discovered that I was telling them, this is what you got to do, blah, 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 blah. They would not do it. And this is where the mindset piece came up. And I started to study what is stopping us, and the fear, and how do you play with your fear, and the fear of rejection, the fear of judgment. So now I like all the pieces come together. That's why I'm 50 and feel wise, because all the pieces, the thread of my life, I do exactly what I love to do right now through the lens of online visibility. But if you look at it, it's a life
Yeah.
transformation that helps you, because I find, I don't know about what you think about that, Layla, but our business is kind of through the lens of our business, we carry our mission. Some
Yes.
people do it through their family, they're like the extra mom, like all the way. Though, like I'm not saying we're not extra moms, but you know, like how we embrace a mission more than
Yeah.
another. I
Yeah.
think it's
There will
our,
be channels that you can gonna show
yeah,
that mission. Yeah,
yes,
whatever you're doing, it shows within
yes.
your.
So that's the story in a nutshell.
Wow, fascinating. Like how many years I knew you for, like 5 years almost now, and I have not known many parts of this journey, and it's fascinating. But it tells me that, even when you were trying to help others with their food and in nutrition, it was the kind of like the nurture and the coach in you, because you wanted to help others, you wanted to show them how to do it. And then that part of you, you could uh, reinvest that part in whichever direction you would like, and then it all matches. And it's fascinating how I always like the saying, you do not connect the dots looking forwards, you connect the dot looking backwards. That is Steve Jobs who said that. And I love that quote, and I really, really go by it, because there are things that happens in life. And now when I look at what happens in every day and say, why is this happening to me? I stopped asking why this happening to me. I was like, I wonder this thing that happened to me, what would make of in the future, how I'm going to utilize whatever incident that's happening to me, whatever encounter with anybody, how this is going to help me in building the future that I am going to. Because we can aim for something, we can hope for something, we can dream of things, but we don't really know how things would manifest and how they would go by, so that we just connect all the things together. We learn everything every day, and we build that for the future. And you did that. Like, you had all these little things here and there. And then now looking backwards, say, oh, this helped me in this and that. And then you collect them in a bouquet, and then you have them all together. And then now you are giving all these experiences to your audience. So do you want to tell us more about the visible methods? Because it's like a V.I.S.B.L.E, and each one stands for
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Before I go there, I just want to add, Leila, I agree with everything you said, except not except, but now I understand, because we connect the dots, that there is no surprise in everything that happens to us, because really, as soon as you think of something you would like to do, it will happen. You
Yes.
you don't know how, you don't need even to know how, but that's why once, like when like now I need to nurture my dream. I know that that's what the book is about, because it happens, like as soon as it's in your mind and in your heart, it will get there. So that's why it's so important. I just want to remind that to all of you, whatever you think every day or dream of every day or speak against every day, it, like, this is why we need to clean our language. We need to be
Yes.
so like
True.
aware of how we talk, how we think, because it really transfer into your reality.
True.
And so some people call that the art of manifestation. Everybody manifests without knowing.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool to be able to have
Eh,
an idea and be kind of surrendering to the unknown, and really never underestimate the power of your ideas and your dreams. A dream is not something that is unachievable. It's actually the thing that is in the work as it hits you
yes.
as a
Yeah.
dream. So I just want to say
Yeah.
that because that's what I've learned in 50 years.
Yeah, no, that is true, and it's fascinating because sometimes you would, and you can experience that people who do not believe in the art of manifestation or the law of manifestation, they are always like either grumpy or like they don't feel good. And then things that are not good happens to them. So you are manifesting the not so good things because you're overthinking that something bad was going to happen. And try to shift your thoughts. And I always say, try for 30 days just to think positive. Every time you have a negative thought, try to replace it with a positive thought, whatever it is. Just think about something that inspires you or something you love or a moment in your life that brings you joy, and try to keep yourself in that. I mean, I'm not saying that I am like a dreamer and then life does not really stress you. There's a lot of stress, but just like try to live in the moment because you cannot control the future, and don't dwell in the past. Just thinking about now in this moment and really count your blessing and try to be positive, because in your vibration and your thoughts, when you are in a place where you're not feeling positive, those bad thoughts would manifest. So to your point, it is a strength and a power of your thoughts and your dreams. If you want to have something, you had that dream for a reason. So you just want to go after it. Just believe that you can and make the steps. Like, I'm not saying sit home and just meditate and think about it and visualize it and not have action plan. You have to action upon it. So you did, you had the thought, you carry it, you run with it, and you achieve what you wanted to achieve. And here you are, like a book writer and publisher, and then a TED Talk like a speaker, and you have your program. So
Yeah.
before I go there, I just want to say, I wanted to just acknowledge the people who are watching us live. Yasna, hi Yasna, I see you. And I'm happy that you're joining us. Hiba, I'm also happy to have you. Samir and Bob and Ahmed, I'm so happy that you have us. I think people are watching us, and then I hope that you find that you really useful, the conversation. We're still on for more, so stay with us.
Stay with us, yes, and ask question. I'm open to question.
Yeah,
Uh,
send us your questions if you like. And if you want to join us on the Zoom, we still have another 30 minutes. You can join us on the Zoom call. The Zoom link is in the event. But if you want to send us your questions here, we can answer those questions even live directly. Just put them in the chat. Yeah,
okay, cool. So you wanted to talk about the V.I.S.I.B.L.E method.
yes.
So the V.I.S.I.B.L.E method is the acronym of visible, and everything, whether you use social media marketing to build your digital footprint, to build your brand, to promote your services, your products, and to sell them, it all goes back to this acronym because, as you know, how many are we on the internet now? I think. Don't remember the number, but it's huge, right? So there are so many people on the internet that it's so important that you speak like you, right? Because that's the humans are gonna watch you, hear you, or read you. They're gonna connect to your own vibe, basically. So that's why I use visible as your voice. What is your voice? And so I'm gonna say them, and then we can go in front of each of them. But the V is voice, the I is your ideas, the S is the stories of your life that shaped who you became as an entrepreneur. The second I is irresistible offers. Then your belief. What do you believe, and what does your client believe before they work with you or buy from you, and how do you shift their belief because they work with you? The transformation in itself. And then the L is for leadership. You are the leader of you, number one. So the way you lead yourself is the way you're going to lead people around you, including your clients. And then expert. Most of the women entrepreneurs I work with, they're an expert at something. Whether they were an expert most of them in my examples are from the corporate world. And then after years of being VPs of this or, senior executives, they're like, I'm done giving 80 hours of my week, of my life every week to someone else's dream. I want to be my dream.
Yeah.
Right? But it's different to be an executive and run the boardroom and run teams. And then the day you're in front of your computer and you are here to run your business and promote your business, you're like you and your phone. And then all the fears pop up. and all the, limiting belief, all the old stories of your great grandmother and all the things go.
Who am I to do this? And how can I do, what did I do to myself? And
And this is where I come along.
yeah.
Yeah, so not only that aspect, which is key because in the first part of Social Media Love, I was mostly like setting up with you the whole system of what it is to have a social media ecosystem that is really harnessed to your sales process. So how someone find you on social media and then how they become a client, like all the steps for that journey. But then even if I was setting up everything, the ecosystem was not activated because if you're not ready to show up at this end of the funnel, nobody's going to learn about you, right? So if you don't show up, nobody knows that this is as simple as this. And I'm talking in the context of you choose with your free will to use social media as a source of leads. You don't have to. Some people don't. You
Yeah.
don't have to, but it's a pretty cool tool we have that is free for most of the time. So if you choose to have social media and then you invest in all the trainings and all the tools and everything is set up, and it's still, you still don't show up at the beginning, at the entrance of the funnel, in the middle after, but you got to do the first part.
Up. Yeah.
Then you say things like social media doesn't work for me, or I don't have it in me, or I'm not techie, or whatever the story you want to be tagged in. But in fact, is the biggest fear is to be rejected and judged. That's something that is all across, including me, all across the board. The fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment. What if, people see like a lot of, especially if you come from another job before and then you open your business, your colleagues gonna see you, your
Yes.
bosses, and they're gonna see a side of you, the unleashed in you.
Yeah.
And they didn't know that person. And they're like, who does like you think they think, and some do. And this is what we learn, like what other think of you is none of your business. But who is she? What does she think she's doing here?
Yes, exactly.
So this is a beautiful journey of self-discovery, and so that's why we do a lot of healing through the journey. A lot of things are, all our fears are anchored in past experiences in the childhood. Some are anchored since before even you were born. So we do that work, and so that was a big leap for me to bring that into the marketing. But that was the only way to support my clients, because if you don't do that work, you feel like a fraud all the time and you don't show up, or you show up, then you stop, show up, then you stop.
Yeah.
And the way to build trust with a human is to be there all the time. And I'm not saying to post every day or anything, but to have a consistency that we know we can count on you. If I work with you, you're not going to disappear in the woods for 3 weeks. So this is the work I bring through the V.I.S.I.B.L.E Method, and owning your story is part of the healing as well. So I always say, don't bring your bleeding story. It's not those ones that we want. We all have stories that are still in the process of being healed. You bring the one that are healed. They're like scars on you.
Yes.
But that scar has, I always take the example of my son. He's a mountain biker, and a monk on mountain bikers, they're proud to show that they're open here. They have a plate here.
Part of their journey, yeah, what they have endured.
I always think like this, it's like, be proud of your story. Basically, that's what it is. And what you've learned through this, that now that you communicate to others so that they can thrive. So that's my V.I.S.I.B.L.E method. And I teach it through, so I work one-on-one with women entrepreneurs, and I work as a group format where I teach the mindset of visibility through the healing, through the reprogramming of the brain, reprogramming of the way you speak, the reprogramming of the way you think, restructuring all the belief systems. We do the cleaning around your belief. What doesn't belong to you anymore and never belonged to you.
Some of the beliefs are not ours. Like we inherited that belief or we were conditioned into believing in them, but they're not really ours.
So yeah, so that process is a 12-week process, and that's what here is increase your visibility power, because when you remove those, but we don't push or we don't, it's not drastic, it's something you do with from a place of love, and it's just beautiful because when you, and it starts with feeling your emotions, that's where it starts.
Mhm.
And once you know and learn how to feel your emotion, that's why I think that's why I got sick when I moved to Canada. Like I pushed through life until 23 because I completely forgot I had a body. So I was running my life with my head. And when you do that, and that's why I think there are so many burnout rates everywhere, you forget you have a body, you just run with this. And so we learn that. And the power of emotions is the language of your body. So we go in the body, we do everything, we do content from your body. We don't use your mind anymore. We use the mind, it has its place, but we connect with our
That's
ideal
your
clients
feeling. Yes.
from the body. So this is freedom, and this is why all the beauties happen. Like in my life, I'm the proof of it. It's because I reconnected with my body.
Mm.
It doesn't feel good every day, believe me, but you feel
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. I love that. I love that because yeah, that's where the starting point. And if you don't connect with yourself and your emotions, you're always going to be showing up a superficial part of you. You need to know how you connect with yourself before you can connect with others. And then this is brilliant. Yeah.
That's exactly that. I always say your online visibility grows at the pace of your inner visibility.
Yeah.
That's it. There is no other way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm so grateful for you sharing that because so many people needed to hear this. And they need to know that they could really transform their lives if they just start by going inward, looking into themselves and find what's stopping them and overcome that fear. And it just like the fear is our body trying to save us, and just like or our minds trying to protect us, but it's just like life happens behind that barrier of fear. So there's all possibilities
Yeah.
there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, fear, that's why we do, like fear is our best friend. So just for this short story, like there is nothing I do if I don't feel fear now. I changed completely my relationship with fear. Fear is it's your green light.
Mhm. Yes.
And and so for so many people around you and I, Layla, and that breaks my heart each time I hear it. But as soon as people feel fear, and I'm not talking about danger where you could
Yes.
die,
Of
okay?
course.
I'm talking like doing a Facebook Live. Nobody dies from doing a Facebook Live or going on a TEDx stage, although it feels like you're gonna die.
Yeah, you gotta tell us about that now. Yeah, in a minute. Yes.
But that fear is so beautiful. So if you feel the fear, this is it. It's your green light. And sometimes I talk to myself and I have a pot of fear here. That's my pot of fear. And when I feel that I'm something is coming, I need to do something, and then I feel the fear, like I feel it in my body, in my belly, person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I look at my pot of fear. I'm like, don't tell me I'm gonna have to do that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how it works now for me.
Yeah.
And for
Well,
my
yeah,
clients.
we talked about that earlier. I think I posted something and you commented on it. It's just like your fear, as you said, it's your friend because you want to write down what are your fears, and then there are general fears like fear of rejection, fear of judgment, and fear of failure. All those like, but there are might be others that you only know, but you just write them down. Think about what could happen if I do this, and if it to manifest, if what I'm fearing would happen, and what's next, what would that make, like if I would be rejected, so what? If I will fail, how do I look at failure? If I would be judged, why would I care? It's just going to be better and better every time. And if I do not, which is the most important part, if I do not do whatever I intended to do or wanted to do because of that fear, how is my life going to happen? What would happen to my life if I don't do it? Like, I'm not going to go anywhere. Like, is that worth it to stop yourself from jumping that, that leap of faith, or that taking that next step, or going online, or do whatever you wanted to do? Is it worth it not to do it? So is that fear,
Yeah, I love what you're saying. So in the Magic with Social Media Love, there are two modules about fears, and one of them we go through 6 ways of dancing with your fears, and one of them is called the questioning process, that has some of the questions you say, and one of the questions that I love the most is, who are you without the fear?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
usually when you listen to this one, the answer, oh, each time it gets me.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It takes you to like seventh sky, like, oh my God, yes. Yeah, that's what I want to be. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you said something about the fear when you were on stage for TEDx. So tell us how you got there. And I watched your speech, and it was really very inspiring. I really loved it. It's on YouTube, so if you want to, maybe after that we finish, you can put the link to the YouTube for your speech,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
your talk on TEDx. You can have it there. But so how was it something that you wanted to do? Was it a coincidence that you were asked to talk? Was it that,
So if I could turn my computer on my vision board for the last 3 years, it's I speak to crowds,
hmm
and it's in my vision. Uh,
hmm
I speak, and then again, that was an idea.
hmm
And I knew that the day I would master guest speaking, or you never master until the end of, it's kind of like personal growth. I think
Yeah.
that's you,
There's
but
no end
there's
point.
no end to it, right? Every stage is a new iteration of you becoming a guest speaker. Um, but what happened is that, so I had that idea again, and that I was, so every day I nurture my vision, and um, and part of that vision was a book as well. So that was, yeah, a book. And then so the way I approach things now is and that's what I teach, is like, okay, so if you say you want to write a book, for example, or do a TEDx, let's, the woman who would do the TEDx and do the book, what would she do today to make it happen? So the first thing I did was, I said, well, she would find an agent. So it was 3 years ago. And then what type of agent? And she dreams big, right? I love, let me, the name gonna come, you're gonna help me. The Power of Intention by Dr. Dyer.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So I am a like a crazy fan of him.
yes.
So I'm like, I want to be published by the same company, the Hay House. So I reach out to the Hay House, and they say, yeah, we're gonna put you in touch. It's gonna be with our for our beginner writer. We have a house, a publishing house called oh my God, what's going on with words? Well, it's part of the house. There is a company for beginners, and then I reach out to them, sign the contract, and here we go. I am an author without book, but so that's how it started. And then you know how as soon as you start acting as if you were in your reality, things doesn't stop, you know. And then I don't know, 2 months later or something, there is my one of my coaches. She said, you know, Angelique, I'm every year I write a collective books with my client. Do you want to have a chapter in it? So I'm like, yeah. So I write a chapter. It's a chapter. So you have to share the most vulnerable story of your life. And at the time, I'm like, I don't know. There's nothing that I'm really scared to share, or, and then so we worked on this. And then I'm just saying this because if you're one of those like me, I don't have anything. There is something, because you forget, your mind gonna protect you. So it's gonna put it down so down that you don't even remember. Okay? It's a trick of the mind. It's all cool. So, story short, the book is out with the story of 20 years of bulimia and all the things. So that's book one. And then she said, well, would you like to do the full book now? And I'm like, yeah, but I have a contract with the company to write a book. and I paid for it. She said, well, you could write that another book another time with that company, but it's all set up and it comes with the TEDx. So whoever comes for write a book with me, I coach you through writing a book and a TEDx. So it was not an option. It was both together. And
Nice.
I said, how many years? And 6 months. I'm like, what? A TEDx and a book in 6 months? It took me a year to write a chapter. And then I saw the story we know now. Everything worked out in 6 months. I was on a TEDx stage. So it's, I wrote the book as well as doing the TEDx, the application. There is a full process. And so in May, the book was published. So my TEDx was on May 16th and the book came out on May 21st. Everything at once. And yeah, it's when I say dancing with your fear, so it's one thing to say you're gonna do a TEDx, but when you get in the room and you see the thing that you see on YouTube all the time, like the big red carpet and the big letters, and you're like you got to know how to dance with your fear or die.
Yeah.
So that's one of the thing of, when you achieve something like that, you got to surrender and trust. So that's why now I want to jump from a plane and parachute, because this is a type of hype you get too. And so to tell you the truth, 3 minutes before I knew they were calling my name, I was in a kind of black room in the side. I couldn't remember anything. So I do a lot of somatic work as part of my fear dancing. So I was like, you should have seen. I wish someone would have
Video.
Yeah, so all the tapping, all the different type of breathing, and I was like, you don't have to remember anything anyway. Trust, you are supported. I've been practicing every day for the last 3 months with a colleague of mine in California. She knew my speech by heart. I almost knew hers by heart. Every day we were like, so it was not true that I didn't know. It's just I couldn't remember because of fear. My system, my nervous system was completely blocked, and I'm like, holy moly. And then I'm like, yeah, let's dance with our fear. And that's in 3 minutes. I'm detailing, but it's happening in 3 minutes. Okay. And then you hear your name, Angelique, Binet, and you're like breathing even deeper. You don't even try to remember anything. You're like, I'm gonna hit the 3 steps. There are 3 steps. And then I'm surrendering fully. Like, the art of surrendering is something I've been working for years on it, but I think I got it that day. I had to surrender. And it was beautiful. I could cry. It was beautiful. Because you know what happened? So you get the 3 steps. There is someone, the MC, which was my coach, who says your bio, what you're gonna be talking about. Then she hugs you. Then everybody claps in the room. You are on the spot, so you don't even see the room because it's so the lights. And I knew about that because of my TV.
Black in front of you.
Yeah, it's black. And then I opened my mouth. No idea if a word would come out.
Yeah,
it comes out. And then I had a teleprompter in my. I'm gonna try to explain. It's still surreal to me. I had a teleprompter that came out in my brain, and I was always 1 sentence ahead in my head. So I wasn't like, it was talking, and then the next one would do this. Like it was rolling like this, one by one by one. And then in the middle, it says, Angélique, we need to show you what fully surrendering looks like. You're gonna go off script. And you have to know that with TEDx, it doesn't joke. They don't want you off script. Because it's one thing to be on the stage, you need to be approved to be on YouTube after. So if you went longer, if you completely derailed from your script, and then it says, Angelique, we're gonna go off script, and you're gonna surrender even more. You're gonna put your eyes on the left on the floor, and when you come back, you turn your head, and if you look again at I know now, when I watched the first time, I'm like, oh my God, I could be inside of me, I could feel it. And then so I completely lose it. I'm starting to knit a new sentence. And you know, when you learn by heart something, it's a music. So suddenly I'm off the music and I'm
Okay.
like, holy moly, what are we gonna do? But it was saying we're gonna lose it. So I knew. And then I put my eyes on the floor. I take a deep breath. And I know that my cue is when I put back my head like this, we're back on script. No idea how. Everything is nanoseconds, right? I'm just playing it very slow to tell you what happened, the real story behind my TEDx. And then indeed, I'm back on script and the fire is like full fire. And you can see the difference between the beginning of my street of
I
my
noticed. Yeah.
and then I'm like, "Wah! I'm here."
Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm
That,
all sweaty just telling you. I'm
yeah,
like, I don't know how I did it. Well,
yeah,
by dancing with my fear, but that was an extreme example of you can do anything, even if
yeah,
you feel completely lost.
yeah, yes. Yeah, oh my God, there are so many people that are watching us and they are, let me see if there's any questions. Anybody has any questions for Angelique? We still have 6 minutes to take questions. So if you have any
I'd
questions
love to
for
take
her,
questions.
yeah, we'll
Yes.
take questions because we can keep talking for another hour or more. There's a
Layla and
lot.
I, each time we meet, whether it's in a public setup or even in person, we never short
Yeah,
of.
yeah, we're never short of things to talk about. And it's all good things, like all good things that it's enrich us and bring us one step further towards where we have to become or who we are going to be. So if anyone has any question, please send us your questions. If not, I'll be asking some more questions. If you can tell people to do one thing today, one thing that would, one step forward towards where they want to become, what would that be?
Okay. So your mission today is to really feel how you feel today and
Mhm.
don't judge it. This is the key of everything in your business, in your how you run a sales calls on everything. So the mission is that feel everything. And I'm going to give you an example because we have a tendency to judge right away. Like,
Mm.
especially if you stop for a second, you close your eyes. I like to put my left hand on my heart, take a deep breath, and then really feel. And then if you never do that, you might feel nothing. That's completely normal. You're protected. Like you don't want to feel like because you know the second you're gonna learn how to feel, you're gonna feel that everything's gonna fall apart.
Yes.
I promise you it won't.
Yeah.
It's a practice, it's a muscle, but your body's gonna thank you so much. You're gonna have the best night of your life tonight. So feeling, and then also something that can happen. So my parents, my family is still in France, and until a few years ago, they would come every year to see me, lucky me, right? Every summer they would come for 3 weeks. And so the joy, the joy of going to the airport and
Yeah.
seeing them and sharing life for 3 weeks, right? I'm a family girl, so I miss my family, right? And then so I could be in that joy and in an immense, profound sadness
Yeah, I believe you.
and shame and guilt all together. And I was fighting for 3 weeks, like, how come you cannot be so joyful? They're here, lucky you. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then, so for years, that was my life. So I was half there. When you spend your time judging what you feel and who you are,
Mm.
now I know to feel. And the more you feel, the more free you are. And then our job is to really feel our feelings, and you can feel joy and rage at the same time. I'm telling you, I didn't know that. It's like when you go in Saskatchewan and Manitoba, I've never been, but people tell me that you can see in the sky all the weather, the rain, the sun, the snow in one sky because it's
Wow.
so flat. So it's the same with our feelings. So maybe today you feel like super excited, at the same time you feel
Yeah.
like deep sadness.
Layers of feelings. Yeah.
Yes, so they're all beautiful. There is not one that is negative and the other one is positive. No, they are the way your body tells you, I feel like this. So, and you don't even have to question why you feel like this. Feel
Knowledge.
it. I promise you, feel it for how long you need without judging it and release it.
Yeah.
Because what we do most of the time is we avoid to feel it, put it under the carpet and move on. And then at 50 or whenever, you end up at ER with a heart
Yeah.
thing
Or
or
but
a
I will tell
clot
you,
or
you
all
know,
the things the body's like, oh, I've been piling up, piling up, piling up. It has to get out.
yeah. Yes, exactly. There should be like an exit or the
Yeah. It
bottleneck
would
that
be easy that there would be a button.
yeah. Yeah, like a cork on the wine bottle, like poof, and that's it.
Yeah.
That is
So,
so true.
and feeling can just be, you can be grocery shopping. Like, yeah, I'm not even asking you to stop anything. Just be grocery shopping and notice how you feel.
Mm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe you might feel that you don't want to be there at all and you're gonna get out of the Costco and go to the beach. I don't know, whatever.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, acknowledge the feeling, listen to your body, and act upon it. Yeah, that's a great advice. That's a great advice. So what's my last question? No, there's a question actually. What was that first step in action in your plan? Yasna asking.
Which plan?
Which plan, Yasna, would you be able to tell us? You mean the plan to get where she's now?
To
That
open the
first step?
business?
Or go into TED Talk or write in the book? If you are watching still, Yasna. So I have a question till Yasna explain to us what plan. I think she meant maybe your plan to get on TEDx or to write a
Oh,
book.
okay.
What would be that first step you took? Was feeling your feeling. Was that the thing?
Oh, you mean like before
Start
hitting the...
executing things. Yes, going forward. Yeah.
Wait, can you repeat, sorry, the question?
He said a plan to start executing things going forward.
Yeah, so for the TEDx or in general,
In
maybe.
general, like when you had a plan that you wanted to do your
Yeah,
program or
yeah,
to go to TEDx,
yeah,
and when you think whatever the next step you want to do, how do you action towards
yeah,
that goal
yeah.
that
Yes. So so the first thing is the actually the action is the last thing.
Mhm.
Uh, so the first step is allowing to visualize what, so let's say the TEDx. The first thing that I did was, before even knowing how, with who I would do it and where in the world, it was in the US. I didn't know it would be in the US. I would, spend time closing my eyes and feeling how it would feel to be on a TEDx stage, how I would feel that day, and feel today that it's really, and I know people want usually a three-step thing and done, but the first step is to feel. I'm sorry to talk. No, I'm not sorry.
Yeah,
I'm coming back there. This is where it starts. You close your eyes, whatever you want to do. So I don't know what you want
yeah,
this next step for
good,
you be to
good.
be. Close your
So
eyes, imagine yourself already there. Imagine how it feels on your skin. Feel the breath out of your nose. Who's here? Is it inside, outside? Like visualize, like spend some time there and feel how you feel in that scene. Because your mind doesn't know the difference between what's true and what's imagined. And so what it does, it brings your body and your nervous system in safety mode, where when you come out of your visualization, okay, you're going to say, well, the woman I am on that stage, what would she do today if she knew she would be on that stage, in 3 weeks or 6 months? What is the things she would be doing today? So if your body and your nervous system is hijacked by, oh, I don't know the how, I want to know the how. Everybody wants to know the how. There is no how, number one. The how is none of your business. The first thing is go at the end, see yourself, do the visualization, breathe through it and feel calm. As soon as you feel calm, you can come out of your visualization. And then you kind of talk to that woman who is you, and you're like, what will we do today? What are we doing today to be there in 6 months, right? And be honest. That's called radical personal responsibility. We have a full module on this. Be honest with yourself and honor the answer. Don't question the answer. So what would she do today? Well, maybe she would open her computer and check the TEDx options in Canada. And she would take a nano step that feels safe enough. And then the next day, you imagine yourself again, and what would she do today? Oh, well, she saw that there's one in Toronto that looks really cool. I want to reach out and see if someone could give me more details.
Yeah.
So it's always starting with how it feels, feeling it in your body, bringing safety, because there's nothing. That's what we have a tendency to do. We want to know the how, when in fact the only how is the how from inside, because you're going to be guided by your body 100% of the time, always. It always knows. Each time. Now that's going to be a fun thing for you today. Next time you hear yourself say, I don't know, this is your mind wanting to make sure you don't know, but you know. You know everything you want to know. But sometimes you don't need to know, actually, but whatever. It's always it's really, I'm not joking. It is about feeling all the feels and seeing yourself already in that situation, and start living like that person today, not in 6 months. For that person who is on the stage, for me, she is a woman. It's right down my post-it. She's a woman who prioritizes her energy by yoga, fitness, and walking daily. That's this woman who got on a TEDx stage. Nice. And she's a woman who is ready to answer the calling of her life. That woman lead you in the next action. So you don't go with a big action because your nervous system is like, she's crazy. We've never done that. We're going to die. So you go with, what would she do today? Well, she would just check the TEDx stages in Canada. That's safe. It's a start. And trust every day like this, and you'd go anywhere. I promise you. And I can help you doing that.
Yeah, start drawing the picture with one color at a time and one line at a time.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so powerful. And the thing is that when you have a big project like this, and I'm still having those old programming reactions, I want to do the things right now. I want to know step 1, 2, 3, 10.
Yeah,
and then
that's
now I know it is not time to do that. Let the body leads.
Yeah.
And then you do the how very naturally.
Yeah. It all come naturally. Yes.
You know, people are asking me about my book. Like, the book is vibrant more and more and more every day. And they say, like, how did you plan your launch? How do you do all those events and stuff? Exactly what I just explained. Like, this is not a joke, and it works so well, beyond even what I've imagined. So when you do that visualization, go beyond what you can imagine. Like, I have an alarm on my phone that rings at 9 every day, and it says, so it is to do breathing. I have breathing alarm where I go deep, and there is a little note, you know, on my iPhone, and it says, widen your mind. Like, widen your mind. Like, imagine bigger. Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you for sharing that. I hope, Yasna, that you got your answer. So, Angelique, my question for you is, what is next for you?
So what is next for me? That is very, very, oh yeah, I need to tell you this, Yasna. It's gonna go faster and faster. In the jargon of manifestation, they call this collapsing time. Don't worry about the words. Like, I'm so kind of, sometimes it irritates me that we attach a big meaning around manifestation, because we are manifesting anyway, whether we want or not. And then collapsing time, what does that mean, right? but how it reflects is that things happen faster and faster, and you're like, I don't want to be
Yeah,
like,
true.
so what's happening? It's happening in 3 weeks. And that because I put my butt on the floor, visualized it, and then it said, go there.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to France to launch my book
Oh,
and
wonderful.
celebrate my mother's birthday
Nice.
in September. And
Wow.
that was not part of my, like, it was not attached to a date or a process. I'm like, and then when you live like this, it's so calmer.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
You
I'm going to
eradicate
France.
stress from your life because you're just trusting.
Yes. And I'm like, okay, I need to find $1,500 for a ticket. And then that same day, there was a transfer in my account that, or yeah, I had enough in a saving account for my taxes that I can take now. Like, you know, it's because cash flow is the thing when you're an entrepreneur, right? Where you put
Yeah.
your cash flow here and there, and
Yeah.
everything's there. And it was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah. It's meant to be. Was that's good. Great.
And
So
then I'm
right
starting.
there.
And the
Okay.
other thing I want to tell you, Yasna, once you read the book, chapter 1 is one of my dream, which was, you know, hosting a retreat in France. And it's the first chapter is in the explain what happened in the retreat. But it was in a luxurious hotel, and there is a big story behind it that it's just beautiful about my mom. And the owner of the hotel, never met her. They're big business people in France. And I'm like, if I launch my book in France, and one of my biggest chapter and my biggest dreams happened in France 2 years ago, I want to launch the book in the luxurious hotel. And you know how on LinkedIn it's gated. If you don't have permission, some people you can access them, you have to ask for permission, you write your message, whatever. It was one of those scenarios. But I write a message to this woman and I say, you don't know me, but here's my story. I booked your hotel 2 years ago. Da, 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 da. I wrote a book since then. The first chapter is in your hotel. And I would love to do a signing event in your hotel with you being with me. Because I love you as an entrepreneur. Like I see online what she does and I want to honor her.
Yeah.
I said, she won't see my mess. Like my mind was saying, she won't see your message. You're not even allowed to send a message until she gives permission or whatever on
That's
LinkedIn.
it. Yes.
3 days later, she answers and
Oh,
she
wow.
congratulates me. And she said, yes, recontact me in a few weeks and we'll make something happen.
Oh my God. Congratulations.
I'm like,
So the book, did you write it also in French or is it going to be the
no,
same
it's in
thing?
English for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
Okay.
step could be that.
So my last question, where can people find your book in Canada right now?
Yeah, right now it's in Amazon and
Oh, so
hopefully,
they can order it anywhere.
yeah, hopefully it's going to be in a store in Nova Scotia at some point
Nice.
because I know you have a lot of people
I'm
in Nova
still
Scotia.
waiting for you to come here and have
Yeah,
this.
it's part of the plan. Let me visualize that. Going to France first. That was part, like Nova Scotia was supposed to be the next, in the rational things, but things happen and
Yes.
then
So,
you've got to follow your intuition. So that's gonna be France first. But yeah, and so what I'll do, I have a link where people can grab the TEDx and can grab the book and grab my podcast if you
yeah,
want to
and
hear
you're gonna
more.
put it in the
Yeah,
comments
yes,
below
yeah,
underneath this. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
great. One last thing you want to share with the audience because we already passed our hour. I cannot believe it. It's 12 minutes past the
Oh,
hour.
wow.
I didn't feel the time. Yeah.
Oh, well, what I want to share is that, sometimes you're behind your computer building the offer, building the post, or wondering, is it worth it, my dream? Is it worth it to continue? Um, I want you to know that in those moments that I want you to trust and then maybe go for a walk. Never give up. Never, never.
I love that. Thank you, Angelique. That was amazing. We're going to have more chats in the future. Once you come back from France, we will schedule something. So people who have questions for Angelique, you can post them in the comments below, and I'm sure she's graceful enough to answer them.
Yes,
She'll
of
be
course.
sharing the link for her TEDx on YouTube, and for the book, the link also to read her book, and follow her on Facebook. She's very active, and we will be in touch again. So for all of you who are listening, our next Salon of Brilliance will be in another month. It would be always on the second Saturday of each month. And next month, we are going to have Robin Griffin as our guest. We will be talking more about that. I will share more about that. But for now, I want you all to join me to thank Angelique for spending an hour and 15 minutes, almost 13 minutes. That was very insightful. You were very graceful in sharing a lot of your story and so many tips that I'm sure people really had a great time. And I am really very grateful for your friendship, Angelique. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Layla. Really, thank you so much. I love it. I love it. It feels so good to be surrounded by how can I say that? You know, we don't share the same story. We are not the same, but we are the same, as you said at the beginning, you know what I mean? And it's
Yes.
just magical to have that synergy and be able to do events like this. I'm just always in awe. Or even when I attended your other salon from my Costco parking, remember, I loved
Yes.
it too. Like, I
Yeah.
love everything you do. So keep
Oh,
going.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. See you
Happy
soon.
summer. Yes.
Bye. Yes.
Okay.
Enjoy the rest of your summer. It's going to be going fast in Canada, so enjoy it. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.